The Nifty, the first tick is in the green, so up about 20 odd points.
Look at the market on Nifty, it's barely up 3-4 points.
We are 21 points from the day's high after that big fall.
For now, it's quiet. I mean, 25 points, neither here nor there is what we have.
A good session. I mean, give and take everything. We went very close, perilously close to a record high on the Nifty. The Sensex, the grand gold index, after 137 sessions, went ahead and hit a fresh record high.
Hello and welcome to Markets Today, the show where we track about 6 hours of the day's trading action in 5 headlines. I'm Sonal Bhutra. Here are the headlines for the day. Sensex hits a record high in intraday trade. Nifty is now 30 points away from its peak. Midcap Index posts a record close for the 8th straight session. CNBC-TV18 News break is confirmed. Lupin becomes the first generic player to get US regulatory approval for a $1 billion respiratory drug. Lupin shares rally in trade. Pyramid Enterprises divests its entire 8.3% stake in Shriram Finance in an impending deal, but the trade lifts a cloud over the stocks. Both stocks gain between 11 to 13%. HDFC gets a nod from CCI to up stakes in its insurance arms. HDFC Life and HDFC go to 50% each. HDFC Life perks up on the news. Z Enterprises gains after report says Sony remains committed to the merger. The stock is also out of the F&O ban today. CG Consumers gains on news or on reports that the company is in advanced talks to buy Cisca's LED lighting business. That's a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Okay, let's go on to the first headline now. It was a good day for the bulls on the Lal Street. Nifty, Sensex and the Midcap Index hit record closing highs. The Midcap Index hits new peaks for the 12th straight session. In fact, the Sensex hit a record high in intraday trade. Nifty and Sensex gained 0.25% each. The rally was led by the HDFC Twins, TCS and Reliance. Banks rose in line with the blue chips. Prashant Nair is here with the details. Prashant, new closing highs on the Lal Street.
Well, almost a repeat of yesterday, because like yesterday, the market started on a tentative kind of note. There was a dip. Today was not as dramatic as yesterday. Low was made like yesterday around 10:30, 11. Then a slow, steady march. The only thing which was missing was the huge move which we saw between 3 and 3:30 yesterday. Today that was missing. But it's still a respectable close. The Nifty ended about 40 points higher. The Nifty Bank underperforming the Nifty, but quite okay. Mid caps and small caps came off the day's high. And of course, the advance decline was notable with more declines as compared to advances. On the Nifty, stocks which did well, old economy, power grid, ONGC. There was an HDFC Bank as well. There was an upgrade from Goldman. Nifty cuts coming through in metal stocks, Hindalco, JSW Steel and Mahindra & Mahindra. I'll start with broader market losers because there were more of them. Mazgaon sold off, has been a huge outperformer. Aptus, there was a large block right at the word go today. Polycab, a block is expected. The stock was under pressure. Jamna Auto, Titagarh, Home First, Gokuldas Exports were a few. But volume-led gainers is still a much longer list. And, it's just quite spectacular. Shriram Finance and Pyramid Enterprises, both stocks seeing action after that big clean-out block trade where Pyramid sold out of Shriram Finance. Lupin, we reported the news first, stock reacting big time. Max Financial, JSW Energy, Happiest Minds, Subros for the second day running, although the stock came off the highs of the day. GMDC, Tube Investments, Blue Dart, Nazara, Linde India, La Opala, Hindware, Satin Credit Care, Muthoot Capital, even Muthoot Finance, which is back above 1200. So no dearth of big, solid volume-led gainers today. Out of the US, we'll hear from Fed Chair Powell again as he testifies before the Congress both today and tomorrow. We'll see if markets react. And with global Q supportive, it just needs one small push and you'll be past the all-time high on the Nifty. Back to you.
Prashant, thank you so much for all those details. In market opinion, Manishi Ray Chaudhary of BNP Paribas is expecting the market to consolidate at the current levels. He also lays out his top sectoral bets.
That struggle to find attractive ideas in India at a reasonable valuation could be a challenge, because the relative valuation valuation premium which had actually contracted quite a bit in March, April, have picked up again. It has gone above the 1 standard deviation level. So, I think for the near term, the market could take a bit of a breather, maybe what's called a time correction in the stock analysts' parlance. I think we may be looking at that kind of a scenario throughout summer. financials, which the consensus earnings estimates have been upgraded almost 10% over the past 6 to 9 months. The second are industrials, where I think this whole, idea of increased infrastructure investments and therefore spilling into private capex at some point of time, that idea is now picking up. And the third are consumer discretionary. I think in general, one should look more at the infrastructure and industrial, that space. We also have a presence in TMT, the tech and telecom universe. Even though tech has been a bit muted over the last 6 months or so, we have, quite contrary to the market perception right after the budget, we have actually liked the life insurers.
Okay, all right. To the second headline now. The big story today, Lupin rallied over 5% after the drug maker received an approval from the US drug regulator for its key respiratory drug Spiriva. Lupin is the first generic drug company to receive US FDA's nod for this respiratory drug. Vivek is here with us, who broke the story first. Vivek, finally the approval has come up. What does it mean for the stock?
Well, today morning we told you that Lupin had got the US FDA approval for a very important drug, that is generic version of Spiriva, which is used to treat asthma-like conditions. Along expected lines, midday the company went ahead and informed the exchanges that yes, indeed, it had received the US FDA nod to go ahead and launch the generic Spiriva. Now, when you're talking about this particular product, it's a blockbuster product. When you're talking about Lupin, Lupin is the first generic company to receive an approval to go ahead and launch this product. Company says that it will be producing or manufacturing this particular drug from its Pithampur facility, and the annual sales of this particular drug was in the US market was over $1,260 million. So significant market opportunity as far as Lupin is concerned. A couple of brokerages, post the development have written, JM Financial says that as per last commentary, the target action date for the launch of generic Spiriva was actually August 2023. So it's a positive surprise that the company has received the approval ahead of what they were anticipating. What they're also saying is that this particular approval improves the earnings and margin visibility, thereby driving earnings upgrade. Antique also along similar lines has written, what they're saying is that this was a much awaited opportunity as far as Lupin is concerned and remains the company's largest opportunity in the US market. They expect generic Spiriva to generate close to $35 million in FY24 and over $110 million in FY25. So all in all, a very significant development as far as Lupin is concerned, and it's a significant launch that analysts who are anticipating now have started baking it into their estimates.
5.5% higher on Lupin today. Thank you, Vivek, for joining us, and congratulations on that news break getting confirmed. Moving on to the third headline today, CNBC-TV18 News break is confirmed. Piramal Enterprises has sold its entire stake of 8.3% in Shriram Finance. With this stake sale, Piramal Enterprises has raised 4,800 crore rupees. The stock surged over 13% and Shriram Finance ended 11% higher. Those two stocks were buzzing in trade today. Nimesh, who broke the story, is joining in with the details. Nimesh.
Both the stocks, Piramal Enterprises and Shriram Finance, are buzzing in trade. Big moves in both the stocks. And the key reason is that Piramal Enterprises, which are owning 8.3% stake, have sold their complete stake. It's a clean out trade, and they've sold their entire stake in Shriram Finance today. I'll come to Shriram Finance first. Why that stock is buzzing in trade? Couple of reasons for it. One, because Piramal Enterprise has completely sold out, so it's a clean out. Two, the entire deal happened in the block window, which means the demand was quite strong. In fact, what I understand from sources, one of the leading sovereign fund was an anchor investor in Shriram Finance in today's block. So that's the reason why you're seeing a sharp reaction in Shriram Finance. In fact, in the last 1 week itself, we've seen two large exits in Shriram Finance. First, TPG sold out its entire 3% stake, and now Piramal has sold out its entire 8.3% stake, and hence we've seen a big move there. But do remember, in the last 1 week itself, the stock has rallied now 25%. That is Shriram Finance. So I was looking at some brokerage notes. Morgan Stanley is quite bullish on the stock. In fact, they have an overweight stance, but now the stock is now pretty much close to what their target price is. So one needs to take into account that the stock has already rallied 24%. But the key reason for the move is strong buyers have come into Shriram Finance, and it's a clean out trade as far as Piramal Enterprises is concerned. Now coming to Piramal Enterprises, why that stock is up more than 10% in today's trade? The simple reason is, with this clean out trade, Piramal has managed to raise close to 4,800 crores by selling this 8.3% in Shriram Finance. It's been in the works for a very long time. The fact is the Piramal Enterprises market cap is currently to 20,000 crores, and as an NBFC to get nearly 5,000 crores of liquidity, that's a big positive sign, and hence you've seen a big reaction on Piramal Enterprises as well. Even from an NBFC valuation point of view, Piramal at close to 1.5 times price to book is still relatively cheap compared to the peers. So that's the reason why you're seeing a big reaction in Piramal Enterprises as well.
Okay, all right, Nimesh, thank you so much for that. So that's a block deal that has taken place. Moving on to some more stocks and news. Blue Dart gained 7%. Motilal Oswal upgraded the stock to a buy rating. The brokerage firm believes that lower aviation turbine fuel prices will support Blue Dart's margins. Manglam Malu joins us with more details. Manglam, what does Motilal Oswal Financial Services say?
Motilal Oswal has upgraded Blue Dart this morning, and they've upgraded it from a neutral to buy. That's largely because the stock, one, has corrected 30% from the high. Secondly, it's attractive right now, largely because 40% of its costs are aviation turbine fuel, which has also seen a big correction. So they stand to benefit from that. In the second half of this year, they expect that the 2 new aircraft that the company have added will also aid their volume. So which is why they have a target price of 8,040 on the counter.
Okay, all right. So we have Blue Dart in focus. IGL also in focus because remember the Delhi government extended the permit validity of taxis using CNG and other clean fuels to 15 years. So that has come about as a positive for the stock, and that is something which was not expected as well. So Citi has written a note on this update that has come by. They have buy rating with target price of 560 rupees on the share. They say that the extension of permit validity of taxis using CNG and other clean fuels to 15 years is a positive because the earlier draft scheme, it had sought to mandate aggregators to switch to an all-electric fleet within 7 years itself, and that was a dampener because 25% of the volumes for IGL come from these segments itself. Uncertainty still loom as final aggregator policy is awaited. Recent correction, however, that we've seen in the stock provides some risk reward, and the stock is down 8% from the 52-week high levels, but this was something which is something that the street is awaiting as well, and if that comes by and 15 years extension is given, it will definitely be a positive for IGL. So that stock in focus today, higher by 3% in trade. Time for a break now, but stay tuned, we'll be back in a bit with the other headlines. Welcome back. You're still tuned into Markets Today. Go to the rest of the headlines that we are tracking for you. To the fourth headline now, HDFC rallied over 1.5%. The Competition Commission of India has approved the company's proposal to acquire 50% stake in its life insurance arm, HDFC Life. Surbhi Sadaria is here with the details. Surbhi, what does it mean?
Thanks for that. So RBI had earlier approved this increase in stake, but now CCI has come in with the final approval saying that HDFC can acquire additional shareholding in HDFC Life. So now currently they hold around 48.65%, but the merged entity will hold over 50% stake in HDFC Life. Now this will mean that HDFC Life will become a direct subsidiary of the merged entity, and their cost of distribution will probably come lower because they will have more cross-selling opportunities. Apart from that, the management had alluded to CNBC-TV18 earlier that HDFC Life has grown better than the industry, close to 1.5 to 2 times over than the private life sector, and they expect the VNB growth for FY24 to be in mid-teens, which will be in line with the top line growth, and also they will be able to hold on to their new business margins for FY24. So all of these factors are working in favor for HDFC Life.
Thank you, Surbhi, for all those details. Moving on to the fifth headline now, onto a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. CG Consumer is eyeing an acquisition to beef up its lighting portfolio. Sources have said that the firm is in advanced talks to buy Syska's LED lighting business for 2,000 crore rupees. Nisha Pudar is here with the exclusive details. Nisha, what are you picking up?
That's right. Sources with direct knowledge of the developments in the consumer electrical space has been sharing that a lot of M&A as well as consolidation activity could be on the radar. In fact, two big companies, Crompton Greaves consumer electrical business as well as Syska LED, which is in the unlisted space, these two could be ripe for an M&A play. Let's look at each of the companies. So CG Consumer Electricals could be looking at a better strategic fit with more management depth to enhance its performance after the PE exits that we saw recently. On the other hand, Syska LED is a company which has been struggling with a minority stake sale, but I did check with private equity players. There were no takers for a minority stake, and therefore the company could have evaluated a strategic sale, a majority sale of the company as well. On the other hand, when we talk about consolidators, Havells, a market leader, could be looking at beefing up its position in the market. And on the other hand, CG Power wants to beef up this business with more consolidation and more inorganic acquisition. We did reach out to all the companies, and CG Consumer Electricals did state that board has not evaluated any strategic option, and Syska LED promoter said that it's all speculation. On the other hand, we do gather that because of the regulatory costs involved as well as some of the raw material costs, smaller players also could be up for consolidation in future, and infrastructure and construction thrust by a government could really pump up the volumes as well as demand going forward. So this sector is something to keep on our radar.
Nisha, thank you so much for those exclusive details. Moving on, Z ended 4% higher. We learned from sources that Sony has no plans of backing out of the merger with Z. This despite the allegations of fund diversion made against its promoters, Subhash Chandra and Puneet Goyanka. Surbhi Sataria is back with us. Surbhi, give us the details on this one.
So there's a Mint report that says that Sony has no plans to back out of the merger despite the allegations of fund diversion. Now, Ravi Ahuja, the chairman of Global Television Studios and Corporate Development at Sony Pictures, had presented to the board of the parent company of Sony and the presentation went over the ongoing developments and the prospects of the merger. Apart from that, the commitment of the merger is primarily based on the parent company's opinion, and that at 250 per share, at Z's valuation for the proposed share swap is unlikely to be affected even if the stock price goes below the 140 levels. Now, there is a plan for the worst case scenario, that is if Mr. Goenka does not get a relief from the courts to be the MD of the company, but as of now there is no discussion of that. As per the agreement, Goenka would be the managing director and the CEO of the merged entity for 5 years. Apart from that, there is a statement coming in from Sony. They say that there have been several erroneous press reports recently speculating about the future of Zee's planned merger with Sony following the interim order against Subhash Chandra and Puneet Goenka, and they say that they take the SEBI interim order very seriously and will continue to monitor developments that may affect the deal.
That's an important update. Thank you so much, Surbhi, for bringing us all these details. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Markets Today. Thank you for watching.